Hey everyone, welcome to another installment of Harry Potter Theory. For today's video, I'm going to be continuing with what you guys seem to enjoy and making a ranking video. However, this is a different sort of ranking video because it doesn't concern the wizards or witches of the magical world. In fact, it doesn't really concern humanoids at all. Today, I'm going to be ranking the most powerful, intimidating, daunting creatures of the magical world. Now, in a world full of magic, it should come as no surprise that there are some powerful creatures out there. And we're even able to catch a glimpse of some of them in the books and films. Trolls, giants, dragons, these are all featured in the films, and often their power was put on display in totality. However, there are a lot of powerful creatures that never really made it into the books or films, or appeared very little, and I want to highlight some of those creatures. This list was hard to compile, and there were many creatures that nearly made the cut. After watching, I implore you to share your own top 10 with me. Without further ado, let's jump into the top 10 most powerful creatures in the wizarding world. Number 10, Lethifolds. The etymology behind the name Lethifold is quite sinister, as Lethifold comes from two roots, lethum, variation of letum, which is Latin for death, annihilation, and ruin, as well as fold, which likely alludes to the creature's cloaked appearance. The Lethifold resembles a black cloak roughly half an inch thick, and appears slightly thicker if the creature has recently digested a victim. It glides along surfaces in an unknown form of locomotion in search of its prey, humans. It attacks at night when the target is asleep, by suffocating and then digesting it. The Lethifold is a truly dangerous magical beast. They are extremely aggressive, violent, and even carnivorous. Luckily, the Lethifold is found only in tropical climates, so as long as you don't go on holiday, you should be safe from them. Number 9, Werewolf. The werewolf is considered to be a category 5X creature by the Ministry of Magic, meaning that they are impossible to domesticate, reason with, and equally dangerous to wizard kind. Werewolves suffer from lycanthropy, a condition which forces them to transform into their violent form at the first sign of a full moon. Notable werewolves from the series include Remus Lupin and Fenrir Greyback. However, Lupin contains his condition somewhat with a wolfsbane potion. While in their werewolf form, werewolves have no awareness of who they are interacting with. This means that even the friends and allies of a werewolf aren't safe during a full moon. Furthermore, when they revert back to their regular form, they will have no recollection of the terrible actions that they made. Werewolves are powerful creatures capable of widespread destruction, and for that reason, I feel they are deserving of this spot on the list. Number 8, Acromantula. Acromantulas are basically giant spiders, so if you suffer from arachnophobia, aka the fear of spiders, then this one might be number 1 on your list. If you'll remember, the most notable Acromantula from the series is Aragog, Hagrid's old pet and the reason for his expulsion from Hogwarts. Like werewolves, Acromantulas are classified as a category 5X beast by the Ministry of Magic, and this is for good reason. It has been expressed that the leg span of Acromantulas can be as large as 15 feet, which makes them a bit more intimidating than your average house spider. Additionally, they have 8 black eyes, thick black hair, giant pedipalps which they use to eat their prey, and highly toxic venom. Not only that, but Acromantulas are sentient and highly intelligent, even capable of human speech. Number 7, Giants. Giants are incredibly powerful creatures that tend to live out their lives in tribes, completely separate from the rest of the wizarding community. They are smarter than trolls, but stupider than humans, and their innate bloodthirsty nature has typically resulted in their own population control. The secret to giants' power is in their name. They are giant. In fact, they are larger than almost any other magical creature, equal in physical strength to dragons, and highly resistant to spells. Giants have been known to side with Voldemort, as we saw in both the First and Second Wizarding Wars. However, despite their immense power, they do have an Achilles heel: their eyes. The eyes of giants are much more vulnerable to spells, attacks, and this is how the good guys are able to take them out. This obvious vulnerability is the only reason that they aren't higher on the list. Number 6, Dementor. If you've watched read Harry Potter, then you should know this next creature well, the Dementor. Dementors are cloaked creatures that are 3 meters tall with dark grey scabby skin. They are truly foul creatures that represent unhappiness and despair, and they are frequently known to be the guards of Azkaban prison, ensuring that all the darkest witches and wizards inside do not escape. Dementors are among the foulest creatures that walk this earth. They infest the darkest, filthiest places. They glory in decay and despair. They drain peace, hope, and happiness out of the air around them. Even muggles feel their presence, though they can't see them. Get too near a Dementor, and every good feeling, every happy memory will be sucked out of you. If it can, the Dementor will feed on you long enough to reduce you to something like itself, soulless and evil. You'll be left with nothing but the worst experiences of your life. Dementors can strip you of your soul and leave you just a shell of a person, and that kind of power can't be ignored. However, their Achilles heel is the Patronus charm, as it is a positive light force that represents everything that they aren't. As a result, they are repelled by its presence. This means that as long as the wizard knows how to use a Patronus charm, then they are safe from Dementors. Number 5, Phoenix. Phoenixes are a little unassuming when compared to other creatures on this list, largely due to their size and more approachable look. They are a little more inviting than, say, an 8-legged giant spider or werewolf with its teeth out. However, that doesn't mean that they aren't more powerful. The most notable phoenix from the Harry Potter story is of course Dumbledore's loyal phoenix companion, Fawkes. A phoenix is a bird with magical properties. Large and coloured red and gold, they can carry very heavy loads and their tears have healing powers. On their burning days, phoenixes burst into flames and are reborn from the ashes. Okay, so why are phoenixes so powerful? This is actually quite a long list. First of all, they're immortal. When a phoenix dies, it bursts into flames, and it ceases to exist, but not for long. After no time at all, a phoenix will then be reborn from its own ashes. Next, the tears of a phoenix have extremely powerful healing properties, able to save even those who are at the brink of death. Next, the phoenix has somewhat of an immunity to magic. We see this when Fawkes fights the basilisk, as he is seemingly unaffected by the basilisk's gaze. Next, phoenixes have sharp talons, which are no joke when it comes to clawing at enemies. And lastly, phoenix feathers are used to craft some of the most powerful wand cores. Yes, they're a little less intimidating than some of the others on this list, but they are certainly powerful. Number 4. Thunderbird. You may not have heard of a Thunderbird before, but they are extremely powerful magical birds that eclipse even the powers of the fabled phoenix. Like the phoenix and its association to the element of fire, Thunderbirds more closely resonate with aspects of thunder and lightning. Though not explicitly stated, I suspect that the two mythical birds are related in some way. Thunderbirds can command the weather and create powerful targeted storms whenever they want. Additionally, they are immense in size, have incredible strength, and possess huge, powerful talons. Like the phoenix, their feathers can be taken and used in a wand core. Thunderbird cores are said to be particularly powerful at Transfiguration. Number 3. Basilisk. You may remember the basilisk from the Chamber of Secrets. They are enormous, serpentine creatures that were originally created by a dark wizard by the name of Herpo the Foul, though commonly their original creation is wrongfully credited to Hogwarts founder Salazar Slytherin. Though Slytherin created his own, this was not the original basilisk that Herpo had created. Of the many fearsome beasts and monsters that roam our land, there is none more curious or more deadly than a basilisk, known also as the King of Serpents. This snake, which may reach gigantic size and live many hundreds of years, is born from a chicken's egg, hatched beneath a toad. Its methods of killing are most wondrous, for aside from its deadly and venomous fangs, the basilisk has a murderous stare, and all who are fixed with the beam of its eye shall suffer instant death. Spiders flee before the basilisk, for it is their mortal enemy, and the basilisk flees only from the crowing of the rooster, which is fatal to it. Basilisks are gigantic, powerful, and immune to a lot of magic. Not only that, but they possess giant fangs, protective scales, and a gaze that can kill you instantly. The basilisk in the film was defeated by Harry with the help of Fawkes. However, I am of the impression that 9 times out of 10, the battle would have gone in the basilisk's favour. Harry got lucky, really lucky. Number 2. Dragons. I'm sure you knew that dragons would appear somewhere on the list, but I bet you didn't know where and when. Dragons pop up in the Harry Potter films quite a bit, and are frequently referred to as some of the most powerful creatures in existence. Dragons are giant, winged, fire-breathing beasts that incite fear in the hearts of even the bravest witches and wizards. They bear the potential to be extremely destructive, and they are even classified as Category 5X by the Ministry of Magic. This classification means that they are known to kill witches and wizards, and are either extremely difficult to or impossible to domesticate. We see or hear mentions of dragons pop up constantly throughout the books and films, and they are an integral part of the series. One important thing worth mentioning, however, is that there are many types of dragons, and some are more powerful than others. In my opinion, the most powerful dragon of them all is the Hungarian Horntail, followed closely by the Ukrainian Ironbelly. The Horntail is enormous and has a lizard-like appearance, along with bronze horns, spikes that protrude from its long tail, and yellow eyes with vertical pupils. It is known to have one of the longest fire-breathing ranges, and can scorch you from 50 feet away. The Hungarian Horntail was also used in Hogwarts as one of the guardians of the Cursed Vaults. I think that dragons are more than deserving of this position on the list. Number 1. Nundu. Last but certainly not least, we have the Nundu. The Nundu is scarcely mentioned, and that's probably for good reason, as they are perhaps the most destructive and powerful creatures of them all when untamed. Though not as big as giants, dragons, or basilisks, Nundus are nonetheless considered by many witches and wizards to be the most dangerous creature in existence. In fact, no Nundu has ever been defeated by fewer than 100 sorcerers, which in my opinion makes the Nundu the clear number 1 on this list. For some perspective, a dragon will usually require about 10 sorcerers to subdue. Nundus somewhat resemble lions, and though we aren't exactly sure of their size, we do know that they are massively fast, resistant to most magic, and possess the ability to breathe toxins that can clear entire villages. The only weakness that a Nundu has, and I'm not sure that you can even call it a weakness, is that they actually can be tamed, as Newt Scamander was reportedly able to have tamed a young one. And that concludes the list. What do you guys think? This list was hard to make, and it was even harder to justify some of the rankings, but I did my best. What order would you put these creatures in? What substitutions would you make? What's your top 10 list? Let me know in the comment section below. Until next time, remember, it does not do to dwell on dreams and forget to live